Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Happy 23rd day of Inkvent. We're in the final countdown now already. Can you guys believe it? Number 23 is being held by one of the snow people down here. I absolutely love all the beautiful, intricate, detailed, like fountain pen specific artwork on this box. Is just such an amazing, labor of love, and the color schemes every year. So let's see what's behind door number 23. I hope it's not yet another light color, although I was surprisingly excited by yesterday's pineapple spritz. Like yellow just isn't my jam at all, in particular all the pale, like light, girly girl, pastel-y colors we've been getting thus far. And I was so excited about a pineapple themed ink. I totally forgot to write the property pigment chameleon in the metadata on my little notebook yesterday. I managed to squeeze it in up at the top. There was a tiny little space left. So let's see what number 23 is going to be. This blue-green. This is Let It Snow. Ooh, that's nice. It looks like it's on the lighter end yet again, but not really a surprise there. It's this year's theme. And they, to be fair, they did give us a more than a few like darker, like intense, dramatic colors. It's just like, why so many light colors? This really isn't what I think of as winter. And this is a chameleon ink. Oh, that's nice. And the sparkle particles, the shimmer particles, they look kind of blue. Let's hope this isn't like, borderline illegible light, because that's just not my jam at all. And I really would like to use these inks for more than just like, artwork or swatching. So see you guys on the other side of my desk. That's a really nice shade of blue. I would classify this, at least at present, I never know what's going to happen when the chameleon particles start making themselves known when it dries up. But at present, it's giving the impression of a distinctive medium blue, and it does really accurately reflect the name. Now I kind of wish I had saved my pen named Let It Snow for this ink. I put some burr into it, but as it happens, I could not have expected this, because I switched out my Let It Snow pen for its existing medium nib to the 1.4 stub, and there was a little bit of Yamabuda left in the nib from dip testing a couple of, I guess, weeks ago or whatever. They've been combining, so it comes out purple instead of the actual burr color. But yeah, that would have been totally perfect had I saved the Let It Snow pen for the Let It Snow ink. But even if I did, like empty it out right now, it would still take a while to, like completely cleaned and washed out and dried. So, lesson learned. But, if I like this enough, I will 100%. I almost caught myself saying definitely I will 100% be putting this in the Let It Snow pen. I really like, reserving that particular pen for like wintry and snow themed inks, like, Chilly Night from last year's Inkvent. This is a beautiful blue. It is a bit on the lighter side for me, but it does, at least in the darker patches, seem like close enough to the medium spectrum. I don't think, at least at present, that I would have an issue with legibility. And the chameleon particles, I'm trying to see without leaning into too far into the frame and flashing you guys my gray hairs, but it seemed to be kind of, bluish. And when I got a better look at it in the light, it looked more kind of like a purpley thing. I have to put my brush on my pen rest so it doesn't keep rolling around the page when I shake the bottle up 11 million times, because that's just the nature of the beast when you have like shimmers and chameleons and pigment inks. Again, this is a great opportunity for something that I'm pretty sure doesn't exist. I think I've seen some things that kind of look like it. It rocks back and forth, but not really the kind that a person would want practically and realistically for regular agitation, to keep it like continually flowing throughout the bottle. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for someone in the fountain pen community to get in on the ground and invent like a little miniature like desk thing, an agitating mini machine to keep those particles flowing. I don't think it's going to get much darker than this. I think I'm seeing a little bit of chroma shading in it. It's a pretty ink, and it's leaning towards the light side, but I still think it's medium-ish enough, so not one of those like super, super light pastel-y inks we've been getting so freaking many of. I can't wait to, you know, tabulate everything after Inkvent is over. Like, you know, what's what, like how many were shimmers, how many were chameleons, how many were like pigments, how many are in this particular, you know, color family. What did I like? What was NMSAA, as we say on the names message boards? Not my style at all. What I would get a full bottle of, what I liked, but maybe not quite enough to get a full bottle of after the sample runs out. What I would most, you know, prefer for like artwork, because it's just so damn light. Oh, and the more I add, well, that's of course natural, the more the shimmer particles come to the fore. This is so pretty, and blue is my second favorite color, and I am seeing more like chroma shading as it continues drying up. So this is, I'm not sure if it would like finish as one of my favorites. There's still like two more inks to get through, but I could see this finishing maybe in my top 15 or so, maybe top 10. I would have to, you know, of course, review everything after it's over, but this is a really, really beautiful shade of blue, perfectly evoking its name. It's a really lovely shade of blue, although as I'm, you know, seeing it for the first time and writing in this dip pen, writing on this swatch card, it's seeming to start looking a little bit kind of like a tropical blue, keeping in that pastel-y theme, like, oh, this is I'm on the beach and this is the beautiful color of the ocean water. But you know, I do agree, pretty much I think all of their, in what I'm familiar with, their snow and like, you know, winter name themed Inkvent inks, they seem to be in the blue family, because, you know, burr, snow, cold, winter. It's not sure what's going on there. Suddenly it got much lighter. I will have to shake it up again. Just like all of a sudden it started coming out really pale, like maybe it fell off of the dip pen, or like, you know, dried really quickly, and it didn't come into contact with any water. That's kind of like effed up. Was not expecting that to happen at all. Let it snow. No, it's still coming out very light. Maybe this is like a paper issue. This is very there it goes again. Hopefully I'm not going to create a huge blob going back over the letters. Snow. It's snow. Yeah, I still do like the ink. A very, very pretty color, even though I was very not expecting at all it to like look like this. Maybe just too many shimmer particles got up on the top, and now I'm not trying not to smudge anything, particularly because I'm sorry, I'm leaning again, so I have to hold down the bottom of the card. Maybe I should in future do the name up at the top, so I don't have to worry about putting my hands on the drying ink down at the bottom. Day 22, and I will try my damnedest not to forget anything in the metadata today when I'm, you know, writing it up at the top corner. See, these are all very invaluable, important lessons for me going forward if I do next year's Inkvent. Oh, now I know I'm doing this and I'm not doing that again, and I'm going to do something completely different. And this is something I did in the first year that was really like stupid. I shouldn't have done that. I should have spent more time just getting to know the inks instead of just short writing samples. So, and I'm going to write a complete page instead of just talking about what I liked and what I did not like about that, you know, particular ink. I'm going to squeeze everything into here. Hopefully I left enough space for that. That does not look like a number 2. That looks a bit better, although it's like still leaning over too far. This is day 23. I really, really do hope I can squeeze it all in. It looks good enough. 23. 23. Yeah, it looks like enough of a 23. I'll put that off to the side and write them. Oh, and of course, I almost forgot to do the miniature swatch up at the top. I really do need to, you know, work on streamlining this process. Very, very, very pretty. It does match the swatch card. And as that swatch is starting to dry up more and more, I'm seeing a really beautiful effect of the chameleon shimmer particles. It looks even like purpley down at the bottom right. So this is a joy, and it seems wet thus far because it's clinging to the brush. I don't know if that's a like an accurate test of an ink's wetness, or just maybe that I put a lot of ink onto the brush to start out with, but so far it does seem like it's not really a dry ink, and I'm really enjoying it. And this is a different, entirely different shape of swatch than I've been painting so far. I guess this is just how it ended up, but yeah, I'm really liking this. It's pretty. I hope it does not, you know, bleed onto the other page, but so far that really hasn't been an issue, except when, you know, learned the hard way. I put actual droplets of ink onto the page instead of just painting like this. And it's nice ink, and it does kind of evoke the beach to me, this kind of color, although I do see an overcast snowy sky. This is, you know, how it looks, and just such a beautiful like color they achieved. The ink seems to be, you know, drying on schedule. I'm not putting my hand down in a really like wet batch of ink, although it still does feel like it's not entirely dry yet. So yeah, that's another great sign. It's a wet and well lubricated, well performing ink. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself yet again, sound like a stupid broken record, but this is somewhat lighter than I personally prefer, but it is a really, like, you know, beautiful shade. I'm still like, my vote is going towards like, this is on the medium side of the blue spectrum, maybe on the lighter side of the medium spectrum, but regardless, I'm really, really digging it. And we're still all waiting for that Starbright. Maybe they're saving the one and only Starbright until the final, you know, day this year. Keep us all on our toes, waiting while they, you know, unveil new stuff we've never seen before. Maybe their thought process is, oh, these our audience has never had like pigment in the Inkvent calendar before, and oh, they've never had pigment shimmers or pigment chameleons. Let's do that and show off all sorts of different new properties. Maybe they're getting tired of the same old, so save the, you know, more familiar chestnuts for the final day. You know, they're always thinking of new things. Even though I do agree with some people, there are certain, you know, inks that seem to be, I guess, like not necessarily like 100% repeats, but, you know, uncomfortably close to previous days. They're not different enough, but, you know, you have to give credit where credit is due. It can't be easy to think of like 25 entirely new inks like every single year for like, you know, 6 years now, I believe. Day 23, Let It Snow. And this is a chameleon. I will not forget to write everything I need to in the metadata today. That sometimes you only need to make a humiliating, like an embarrassing mistake once for the lesson to, you know, sink in. I know that S is kind of curving downward, but again, like, I'm not really familiar with writing on notebooks without any lines, so I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going. It's just not in my wheelhouse. Looks like I'll have to hyphenate the word chameleon, but I've hyphenated a number of other times prior in this little notebook, and it's, you know, what happens when you're using like a tiny ass trim size instead of the, you know, 8.5 by 11.5 I'm familiar with. But I'm like, dollars to donuts, that would like be way too big for this kind of thing. And do a smiley face to fill up the space, as I want to do, because huge ass gaps in notebooks, they just make my eyes twitch. Smiley face. Do some, you know, shapes. I love geometric artwork. I still am very, you know, long overdue to do like a video talking about Oh my, this is a tour of my, art supplies, and these are my favorite colored pencils, and these are the kinds of things I like doing. So I'll do the longer writing sample. After going through all of my ink swatches, it's pretty safe to say I don't really have anything that comes close to this sort of a color profile, as you guys can see, because I filled up most of the page with drawing geometric shapes instead of the actual writing. This is going in the art ink category for me, or at least at present. Like, you never know, maybe I'll try it for fun in a stub nib one of these days. Oh wow, it looks so much different, so much darker and more saturated. Got to get me a full bottle for, larger nibs. So this is what it looks like. I'm completely dried. I do like the shimmer particles. When the light catches on them, I'm still seeing a little bit of what looks like purpley pink down at the thickest swatch of ink down at the bottom, and the rest kind of looks, I guess, like some kind of bluey green. It's leaning more towards the green side of the color spectrum. So, in keeping with the teal color theme of this year, and I wanted to compare it with Burr from day number 11, lucky number 11, and they look nothing alike, even though Burr was a little bit lighter than the swatch when I, actually wrote with it. Just, pull that back up. I just think that was 14. This is number, yeah, so this is Burr in writing, and that's leaning much more towards the blue side, whereas compared with Let It Snow. So yeah, definitely a completely different sides of the blue family. This is more like a blue green, and this is more of like a blue gray / like medium-ish blue. And the closest again I could find was Atlas from Wearingeul. This is an Atlas exclusive. Surprise, surprise, perfect name for it. But again, Atlas is more traditional blue, and Let It Snow is like a blue-green, like kind of a turquoisey thing. And I thought about the free Sailor ink samples I got from Goldspot a couple of years ago, which I probably would not have bought this on my own volition. But, Manyo Haha, the lightest of the five, it's again much more like bluey than Let It Snow, and it looks kind of like purpley on the swatch card now that I'm looking at it. But in like actual writing, it does look very light blue. So again, very like good creativity, or at least per my limited collection, because I just don't have like light or medium colors like this. It doesn't look much of anything like any of the inks I currently have. So thank you guys very much for watching all the way through to the end, and I will see you tomorrow for day number 24, the penultimate day, and the final countdown continues. Bye!